All right, now, everybody. Quiet, listen to me. We're going to start a show. Now, some of you people have been with me before. You know it's going to be a tough grind, but we're going to have a show.
And good morning. It's our Big Friday show. I know. I'm excited about it, too. Please.
Yeah.
Please, one at a time. One at a time. The security is overwhelmed. Same seats as yesterday. Let's not have a lot of arguments. Same seats as yesterday. Okay, everyone? Glad everybody could make it back. If you're new to the show, it's like a radio, TV, YouTube, a hybrid you're seeing. You're almost seeing a kind of a radio show in progress. We took the radio people, moved them over here. Kim is with us, as you know.
Kim, how are you?
Good morning.
And Albert is with us, as you're aware.
Albert, thank you.
And Tony stops through from time to time, and Tony will be here next week.
Thanks, Tony.
Big show today. Of course, we've got all the Florida news on Fridays. I'll give you the word on the Lindell story that you may have heard about. RFK Jr. has formally announced, and I'm curious, he's polling pretty well, actually. I'm curious to know what Avila and Shure think about the presidential races that begins to come together, so let's get it on. I'm so excited that everybody is here. You also have the Culture Blaster at the end of the show, toward the end in the 11 o'clock hour, the magical Culture Blaster, Michael Snyder, on what to watch this weekend. While you're thinking of it, smash the like button like a boss. It costs you nothing. It does help us in the world of YouTube, which I've only begun to understand. I don't really get all the algorithmic evaluations that are going on, and to whether your show is served to certain people, certain videos are served. I know that if you're a viewer of this show and you hit the notification bell, which is right under our video on YouTube, it's right there under the screen, little bell. Anytime we release a video, you'll get it. And we'll break the show up after we finish this live show, and you'll get those videos served, and so they're available if you want to see segments. The other thing.
We have chapters now.
Right. I was just about to say that Albert has added something, and this was something at viewer request. You asked for us to add chapters. You can actually see what we're talking about and scroll along. What is that called? Scrubbing, Albert, where you move the cursor?
Yeah, you can hold it with your mouse or your finger. Depends on what device you're using.
Yeah, and you can see what we're talking about, and then you can go to the thing you want. You see there on the screen, find us at themarkthompsonshow.com. That is our home website. That's the mothership of The Mark Thompson Show, themarkthompsonshow.com. There you can find a link to Patreon and PayPal. That's how we stay on the air. So if you're someone who watches from time to time or watches frequently enough, maybe you'll toss us a couple of dollars to help keep the show on air.
That whole chapters thing, it's like being able to fast forward Mark Thompson.
It is. It's the best. I'm best appreciated. Fast forward. Hey, I got a little note from former Governor Schwarzenegger, who was a big guest on the show the other day. Albert, have you got a picture of his new book? He's got a new book out. Be Useful. 7 Tools for Life. Yeah, be useful. 7 tools for life.
Screw your freedom.
Yeah.
That's what he was doing the other day, filling in the pothole. He was being useful.
Well, I guess. And here's what he says.
Yeah. It is my new book with the 7 rules for life and all this. But I will not tell you what the rules are until you buy the book.
I see.
You see, because this is how you do it.
I see.
You get to get the money. Then you will know all of the knowledge, Mark, that you will get from me. Only if you buy the book. You will say, well, we are friends, Arnold. Why don't you just send me the book? And I say, no. I cannot tell you any of the secrets. Even you, Mark, you need this book, so go buy it.
Yeah.
When it comes out. All right, yeah.
All right, well, I don't know. I guess if I want to know the secrets, I'll have to pick up the book.
The Mark Thompson Show.
Well, Mike Lindell, as promised, I'll give you this story. He is, you know him, the MyPillow guy. He went on his, essentially, it was Trump-esque what he did. You know, the traveling from place to place and rallies and showing up here and there and kind of making everything a media event if you could. Hey, by the way, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, that's, that's a legit way to get your message out and all the rest. Now, his message is one, as you know, of I have data, I have evidence, and I can show you how top-of-ticket races, the race for presidency was flipped. And he then issues a challenge, you see. He's so confident that his data is so very damning that he issues a challenge, and the MyPillow founder does this Prove Mike Wrong contest, okay? And in the Prove Mike Wrong contest, he offers anyone who can prove him wrong a financial prize, a 7-figure prize to anyone who could prove the data had no connection to the 2020 election.
It's like easy money.
Well, you'd think, although you have to have some kind of cyber knowledge to be able to present your evidence to prove his evidence wrong, right? And so it was at this cyber symposium in South Dakota in 2021 that he issued this challenge. And he said that he had data that would support claims that there was Chinese interference in the election. And again, he offered this 7-figure prize to anyone who could prove that the data had no connection to the 2020 election. So this guy, Robert Zeidman, he's just a software kind of guy, like, he's a cyber kind of dude. You know what I mean? It's kind of his world. He's a tech guy, might be another way to put it. He successfully did show that Lindell had no evidence and that there was no relationship to the 2020 election.
And this guy is a Trumper. He said he didn't want to be able to disprove.
He went to the convention with other Trump people.
There's never been anything like this.
It's a Trump festival. Almost everyone there was pro-Trump, he said. Anyway, the entire thing goes to arbitration because once the guy proves it, he says, hey, man, where's my money? And Zeidman, who's 63 years old, is from Las Vegas, goes into this arbitration, and the judge rules that Lindell, who spent millions on partisan data reviews, right? I mean, all of the stuff is filtered through this partisan lens, so you're not really getting any data from Mike Lindell that you can take to the bank. So now he'll go to the bank and he'll write a check for $5 million.
What?
The guy. Yeah. Yeah.
If he was encouraged, $5 million, he's fighting for it now, right?
That's the key, right? Yeah. I mean, we've seen so many of these things happen with sadly, it happened with the Alex Jones case, right? You've got Alex Jones. There was a ruling against him. These are families whose reputations were smeared, who lost loved ones, these little kids killed in a massacre. Jones goes on, says it's all theater and performative. I mean, he really pursued that to the point that these people were harassed. I mean, harassed might be the understatement. It was grotesque what they did to these families that were grieving, the Alex Jones followers. And then they got the judgment again, Alex Jones, this is to Kim's point, they can't get the money because he moves around. And to these people, it's not about wanting to those people I'm talking about necessarily the money, but they want to exact some kind of pain, if you will, financial pain on Alex Jones in the same way that Dominion wanted a financial penalty, and a serious one, to exact some economic pain on Fox News. And now in this case, I don't think this guy cares about the pain. Maybe he does. He just cares about the money. And so a judge has ruled that he's owed $5 million by Lindell. And Lindell, of course, is being sued also by Dominion. And Lindell's got lawsuits stacking up like flights over SFO. I mean, this guy is going to be busy in court for a while. And it may be tough to break off $5 million for Mr. Zeidman. But that's what Mr. Zeidman wants. Brian Glasser, a lawyer for Mr. Zeidman, cast doubt on whether Mr. Lindell would be able to successfully challenge the arbitration decision in court, saying that that bar is particularly high. Lindell would have to prove, quote, manifest injustice for him to overturn it. So he looks like he's going to be on the hook.
Well, yeah, you make the deal. You say, disprove me, and I'll give you $5 million. You're disproven. You got to cough up the cash. Done.
Yeah, you'd think. Anyway, that's the Lindell story, everyone.
Nothing. The Mark Thompson Show.
It may be that he doesn't get anything. The X launch, the SpaceX launch yesterday. Was it just yesterday? All the days go together. Yeah. Yeah, it's just so odd to me that it's getting spun as a positive. I guess it's not odd on some level because that's maybe the way you spin it. You load this thing up with a record amount of fuel. It's the largest spacecraft that's ever been launched in the history of this country or the history of the world. And it bursts into flames roughly 6 minutes into the flight. So,
my bad. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about it is, it's true that the early days of the space program, even the manned space flights, and even prior to that, all the rockets didn't go straight up. There were a lot of problems. Okay, right. Some of them didn't even get off the launch pad. So the fact that there was an issue with this SpaceX in itself may or may not be notable. I think I'd have to know more. But the fact that it's being spun as a success, come on. I mean, that you have to burn up all that fuel, that you have to, it's a Tesla self-driving feature, says Perry Joe Jimba. But this idea, let me just make this point quickly, and Musk said this, we've got a lot of land with nobody around it. So if it blows up, it's cool. There actually is a lot of habitat around there. And if it blows up, it's not cool. And the destruction of these space capsules and the associated various stages of the rocket that contain fuel, when they blast themselves into it was like a self-destruct thing that blew it all up, all sorts of various particulate matter rains down on that area. In some of them, by the way, it's not just wildlife habitats. In civilized, populated areas is the word I'm looking for. David Newstead, director of the nonprofit Coastal Bend Bays and Estuaries, felt sick as he saw the fireball explode on the launch pad, they say. SpaceX's site is surrounded by state and federally protected lands. The explosion littered parts of the delicate ecosystem of the Boca Chica tract of the Lower Rio Grande Valley National Wildlife Refuge. Those are tidal flats, beaches, grasslands, coastal dunes, bunch of wildlife. And it's all just strewn with rocket debris. I knew from the other explosions that the rocket would be scattered all over the refuge, Newstead said. Cleanup in the last one took 3 months. The climate impact of the fuel needed to propel the rockets, that's all part of it. But I'm saying even if you put that aside, these wildlife refuge like Boca Chica, it's a delicate habitat. And as usual, we just, we let some rich dude, and to me he is, I'm sorry, just some rich dude messing around. We let him ride roughshod over these areas. It's just wrong. So, in fact, I'll tell you something. They did an environmental impact report back in 2014, and they determined that it would have a bad effect, a deleterious effect on that region. So it's not as though they were cleared from the FAA even.
I'm going to ding you for deleterious.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah. Anyway.
So Randy asks, geez, he says, we should just stop space exploration because of this?
Oh, yeah, Randy always that's his thing. So, so we should all go to electric cars because of Randy likes the 0 to everything, right? Oh, I guess then we should all go vegan because of the animals being harmed? What would happen if we all went to electric cars? The grid wouldn't be able to take it. I guess we shouldn't launch anything anymore, right? Mark, is that the thing? And Randy will tell me that I am mocking him right now. It is true that there is a degree of mockery, but I will say this, Randy, because I am grateful. He is always in the chat, and he always does say provocative things. I sort of think that's a straw man argument, though, to be honest, and you're better than that. I think when we do things as a society and a civilization, we owe it to the surroundings, the environment, the planet, to start thinking through some of the effects. I don't think we think them through very well. Clearly, that's why we are incinerating our own planet right now. We don't live sustainably. I think that's a reasonable question to ask. How can things be done technologically, space exploration and whatever, with respect for the environment, with respect for the things that we should have respect for? I absolutely do not think that you should let billionaire Elon Musk load a bunch of stuff onto a huge fireball and mess around on public lands and over public lands. No, I don't. I'm not for it. So you're right. If that's a full shutdown of space capsules and space missions, great. Then it is. Find me a technology that works. Find me a technology that you don't need to blow up because it's not working out the way it was drawn up on paper. Find me that technology, and then you can launch. I'm already giving you a pass on whatever the carbon footprint of the thing is. But you get the carbon footprint, you get the tax benefits. Okay, there's a tremendous, you understand, public buy-in to these things. You and I subsidize this stuff. I get it. Musk puts up some, we put up some, and it's a big sum. So, yeah, Randy, I'm saying hold him to account. I think it's an important story to tell. I feel the environmental story too often is lost in the wash because it's not the pretty story, the rocket going off, the people all applauding. I mean, it's a show, the wonderment of space. Might we be able to colonize Mars? How fascinating to explore the red planet. There's a lot of romance to make it sexy. Meanwhile, we're trashing this place. So yeah, I've got a problem with it. That's where I stand on it. I don't like that argument. Well, I guess we just shouldn't do anything, Mark, huh? We shouldn't do anything. I guess we should never leave the house because of the carbon footprint. Is that it? Come on, man. Let's do better than that. Big news out of a big organization.
The Mark Thompson Show.
Lyft is planning to lay off. Let me put my credibility glasses on for this. Lyft plans to lay off 1,200 or more employees. It's a new round of job cuts there. Wall Street Journal reporting layoffs could affect 30% or more of the ride-sharing company's workforce. They don't count in the workforce at Lyft the drivers. You think of Lyft, you think of the drivers, right? No, these aren't the drivers that are being affected by this 30% layoff. Sources say the move could help Lyft slash half of its cost, while the new CEO looks to reduce costs and improve drivers' earnings. Lyft laid off about 700 employees late last year. Wow.
And the unemployment numbers went up yesterday. Another 5,000 people applied for unemployment across the country. More layoffs.
Yeah. There's definitely a constriction across the board, and Silicon Valley's being so hard hit. We had the story about Meta, at Apple, at Google, So,
do you feel it? It's the Mark Thompson Show.
There is a nude cruise I was reading about that I thought might be of interest to Kim.
What?
Yeah. It is and Albert, as it turns out.
What?
Nude cruise?
Yes.
Do we have pictures?
Albert, do you have the pictures? I have them in there if you want to break them out. The pictures are a little, can I be honest? The pictures are a little disappointing.
Are there
you think
naked
nude
people?
cruise? Let's face it, most of these nude scenes, where it's a nude beach, it's a nude cruise, it's a nude Club Med, whatever. I mean, certainly Europe, they're not as hung up on bodies as we are in America. We have this sort of puritanical thing.
Sure.
So in Europe, you find more nudity. It's all disappointing. There's no, Leo DiCaprio's girlfriends aren't the ones going,
look at that.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's nude in her own stateroom.
Yes, which is the way it starts. And before you know it, you just walk out.
That's right. Well, hey.
It's Bare Necessities Tour and Travel, everybody. Yeah.
Oh, my.
It's a nudist cruise company. And this woman and her husband are okay in the nude.
Well, yeah.
And standing up in front of the whole crowd. But I'm saying she said that it started with like skinny dipping with friends, and there was a cruise in Tahiti, and that's when they said, hey, we should start these cruises. And I went on their cruises, volunteered for more than a decade before becoming a full-time employee into the nude cruise.
It was a gradual shedding of the garments.
Yes, very well put. And her husband... her husband is an on-air meteorologist. She has a background in theater, and he worked as an on-air meteorologist. So he was like a TV weather guy, or he was a radio weather guy. And they have this skinny dipping background, and now they've upped the ante, and nudism is what they're about.
I don't think it plays well for your local news channel when you've got pictures of the weather guy naked on a cruise ship. I don't know. I'm just maybe not.
I'm guessing that he left the weather job to do the nudism thing.
Is that how it works?
They say nudism is about leaving judgment behind, Kim. No, how about that? When you're not wearing clothes, you can't immediately tell someone's economic status or how they vote. You have to talk to them to find out who they are.
I typed in nude cruise ship, and it's porn videos that came up.
Well, I mean, it's a very Albert, please.
I mean, you know how you procrastinate for just packing for any trip. You don't have to worry about that here. You just bring whatever you're wearing. Right?
Forget the flip flops.
Yeah, just bring the iPhone and the charger.
For this trip. Yeah.
It's not a swingers cruise, everyone should know, before all you swingers out there. Not a lifestyle of swinging. They just like to be nude. They have rules aboard the ship. The most important one is that you have to ask permission before taking a photo with someone else in it. Men can't be overly excited. Oh, that seems like a solid...
How do you control that, though?
With your iron rod.
I mean, you're walking down the hall in a tight, cruise ship hall. There's some hot lady comes walking by. What are you supposed to do?
Yeah, excuse me.
It's a biological reaction.
Kim, you don't walk close to
just turn your back. Don't look, don't look.
I don't know.
I don't think you should apologize for how you feel.
Well, I think on the same point, you don't want to be too out there with it.
My bad. I'm sorry.
Dinner in the formal drive. We're not even at dinner yet, and you've already got issues.
It seems hard to not kind of cop a feel as all these naked people are walking by. I mean, doesn't that kind of invite some touchy?
Oh, probably there are some hookups there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There is a dress code at dinner in the formal dining room, largely because the wait staff carries trays of hot food, so they don't want anybody to get hurt. Yeah. The captain and crew aren't nude, and they do have a shot here. The entertainers and staff they're all clothed, though, so I'm not going to waste your time with it.
Imagine the staff. The staff is probably like, oh, here comes the naked cruise again. Oh, God. Here we go.
Or here comes the naked cruise again. Oh my God.
Set sail in the land of nudity.
It could be something special. I don't know. Seems like
there's a reason that this place is fun.
Right. And so anyway, it's out there if you want it. They've been doing it 10 years. So that seems pretty cool.
I mean, I guess it's less cleanup than the family cruise.
Let's hope. All right. Let's get
the Mark Thompson Show.
We have Friday Fabulous Florida awaiting you. Yes, it has gators. It has Walmart.
No, what could be better?
Yeah.
Gators and Walmart together, perhaps? I don't know.
It has a Leisure City, which is like a senior retirement community, I think, is involved also. So there's a lot of sort of very Floridian kinds of things in Friday Fabulous Florida. We'll be joined by former producer John Daly. And all of that still to come. Michael Shore, Jim Avila at 11 o'clock. That'll be, I think, concentrated toward a few things, not the least of which is a SCOTUS decision that's likely coming on the abortion medication, the abortion pill. That was a decision they were going to make on Wednesday. As you know, they put it off till the end of the week. So that is ahead in the 11 o'clock hour as well. I want to mention Robert Kennedy Jr. entering the presidential race and the likely effects that might have. So we'll touch on that and a couple of other things as well. DeSantis on the Republican side, Larry Elder on the Republican side. And then at 11:35, the Culture Blaster, Michael Snyder, comes in with movies and television. Smash the like button like a boss. Come on now.
With your iron rod.
Kim's News in Florida next. Mark Thompson Show.
On the Mark Thompson Show, I'm Kim McAllister. Let us begin with something Mark mentioned moments ago. The Supreme Court is expected to decide today whether to uphold or overturn a ruling on access to a commonly used abortion pill. A Texas judge suspended FDA approval of mifepristone exactly 2 weeks ago today. The Supreme Court had extended a temporary stay on that judge's ruling earlier this week to today, and that is when the decision is expected. So we will be keeping our eye on that and bring you any information as it comes in. The Defense Department is preparing for a possible evacuation of the U.S. embassy in Sudan. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin said today that the U.S. military hasn't taken any action as of yet. They are looking at options, he says. Violence has broken out in Sudan's capital and throughout the country in a conflict between Sudan's military and a paramilitary group, making it just really unsafe for everyone in that area.
Yeah, it feels very Black Hawk Down, honestly. You get trapped there and then there's no way to get Americans out. This is really scary and feels like a good old-fashioned civil war, which never ends well.
The White House.
That's of course, but that's of course how you ended up with Black Hawk Down and the same thing in the Somali Civil War. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
It's interesting in these cases. There's always people who refuse to leave, and you're like, "What? Get out!" Right? I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I think. The airport is closed, of course, and there's been a lot of fighting at the airport. That's a contested area, so I don't know how you get people out right now anyway.
You send in the Marines, and they take you out. That's how it works.
Yeah, that's how the last one went, too. Anyway.
White House is exploring the benefits of artificial intelligence. Yes, the White House. Department of Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas said the DHS is forming an AI task force. Mayorkas added a top priority of the task force will be responsible use of AI. Police in Ohio and in Florida, hello Friday, are investigating attacks on DoorDash delivery drivers. 2 suspects are under arrest in Akron, Ohio, for the shooting death of a DoorDash driver there. A suspect in Tampa, Florida, still on the loose after apparently forcing a driver into her delivery car and then assaulting her. It is a man known as Afro Man, apparently the latest to throw his hat into the presidential ring. The submitted paperwork yesterday to the Federal Elections Committee comes from this Ohio resident whose home was raided by federal agents last year. He's calling his campaign Joseph Afro Man Foreman for president. So
all right. Well, that seems to, I mean, it's not catchy exactly, but who knows? It might catch on.
It might take off. Actor and comedian Martin Lawrence says his friend Jamie Foxx is doing better. Lawrence commented in an interview yesterday after Foxx received his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Foxx had been hospitalized since April 11th with an undisclosed medical complication. In the Bay Area, it's an investigation into racist texts from Antioch police officers, and now it continues with a civil rights abuse lawsuit against the city. A mother of one of the plaintiffs in the federal lawsuit says her son was mentioned in these text messages that were sent between officers. Here's some sound of what she has to say about it.
I just want this department to be cleaned out and not be able to go to another department and work at a different department. I want them to be prosecuted and never be able to have a step of foot to be an officer ever again.
And one officer reportedly shared a picture of her son recovering in the hospital and said, "I field goal kicked his head." The racist threatening messages were released by the Contra Costa County District Attorney's Office. The City Council approved audits that will look into the department's hiring practices and department culture. The county's public defender says nearly half of the department was included in those group texts.
Jeez.
Yeah. Disturbing. Alphabet is merging its artificial intelligence division. The internal research group Google Brain will join forces with DeepMind. Google acquiring DeepMind in 2014 for $500 million. Pretty soon, drivers in Seattle won't get a ticket for having a broken taillight. Instead, they get money to fix it. Yeah, you get pulled over, you get some money. The police department is joining the National Lights On program to hand out vouchers as a way to give people a boost. The money can be used at select auto shops for free repairs. Those businesses will then get reimbursed within a week. Kind of a nice idea. You know, instead of giving you a ticket and an extra $10 fine or whatever it is, they give you a little help in getting it fixed.
Yeah, hey, I agree.
Yeah, why not? The Mark Thompson Show is crowdfunded. So thank you for being part of this wonderful community. Whether you agree with things being said or not, we love that you're here.
Oh, are there people who don't agree with things being said? Is that what you're telling me?
We had Randy pop out against you this morning. So,
Randy is he's a provocateur, is what he is.
Putting an olive branch out, okay? Come on. Yeah. If you would like to support the show, you can consider becoming a Patreon member or supporting us via PayPal. The website is themarkthompsonshow.com. And of course, you can find so much more on the website. The super chat
you really can't find so much more.
You can
find the click through to Patreon and PayPal.
Much more there.
All right. I don't want to argue about it now, but I don't feel there's so much more on the website.
Always with the complaint department.
Patreon and PayPal. There's a click through to the merch. GetMarkMerch.com. But at themarkthompsonshow.com, it's mostly Patreon and PayPal and a link to
podcasts. Find the YouTube shows.
All right, maybe you're right.
Cool
there might be so it doesn't feel like and so much more, but all right, maybe
so much more is applicable. I'm Kim McAllister.
If you say so.
It's fantastic.
All right, if you say
on
so.
The Mark Thompson Show.
They had to close down an entire radio station to silence him. And now he's here. Ladies and gentlemen, Mark Thompson. The Mark Thompson Show.
Who's Mark Thompson?
I stand corrected. I misspoke. My words upset so many people. My bad. I'm sorry.
Y'all can all go to hell, and I'm going back to Texas.
Joe Fish, Sal the Shoemaker, Joe Box, and Little Anthony.
What he's got going here is a situation. There's a reason that this place is fun.
Someone did this to spoil our Christmas.
I have never heard of something like that.
There is nothing in our history that quite compares to this.
Nobody has ever put something like this together that I've ever seen. We've never seen anything like it before.
I have a busy week.
I think I'm the most honest human being, perhaps, that God ever created.
God bless America. The end.
Girl, you just ruined.
Do I hit it long? Is Trump strong? Huh?
Who is having that conversation?
How would you handle this? We could try ignoring it, sir.
The science is ridiculous.
It's fantastic.
This is a word from the Lord, and he's not happy.
Where are my weed smokers at?
Isn't anybody been a weed?
It was wrong, it was stupid, and I'm trying to be a better person.
Seriously, what the
What up, everybody? It's our big Friday show, and I'll tell you, Albert, I didn't want to mention it before, but I spent my evening. It was a perfect night for me. I cracked open a little of the Why Are You Yelling Red?
Why are you yelling?
And what did I watch, Albert?
Oh, probably our Dubs win. Not much to yell about last night, Mark.
That's right. The Dubs, but come on, without Draymond, they really, and they just lit it up. I mean, it was unreal.
Yeah, Kevon Looney was a monster on the boards. 20 rebounds. 20 rebounds. Yeah. Hustling all over the place. And then Steph, 36 points. I don't think the lead got any, other than the start of the game, I don't think the lead got lower than 12 points. So a very dominating win. Something we needed to right the ship. I say we because I'm also part of the team, Mark.
Yeah, I think when the team wins, Albert's part of the team. When the team's losing, he always goes, I don't know why they can't play defense.
yeah, the Giants this season so far lost 6 out of 7 games. So I'm not a part of this Giants team yet.
Smash the like button like a boss if you would for us. Give us a thumbs up. We don't ask much, but that would be particularly helpful. I do want to welcome in a guy who joins us on Fridays. He's someone who, has a rich history with our show, and with even moving it over to YouTube. He was so very helpful, making that happen. So I feel like he's sort of, in our family. So we love it when he can make it on Fridays. How about it for John Daly, everybody? Come on.
Yeah. Woo!
Yeah. I wouldn't call it a rich history.
I got.
I'm looking at my 401k.
Yeah, John made it over the wall. He made it into everyday life from the world of broadcast.
He dug his way out, Mark.
He did. I know, like Shawshank Redemption.
At a time.
Right. Yeah.
I like to think more like I fell out.
Yeah.
But let me say, on behalf of the audience, we don't like it when mommy and daddy fight.
Oh.
Oh, did you seem like we were fighting?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. I don't like it when mommy and daddy fight.
Over the website?
Yeah.
Oh, he's just ribbing me.
Oh, my God. I was just kidding. Jesus,
it's okay, little Johnny.
Tell you what,
It's okay.
I don't get it.
Well, I saw Buck's comment,
Oh, Buck and Randy are always going to stir the pot. I mean,
You just don't get it, do you?
All right.
You don't.
All right. Everybody, all right. Now I'm in a bad mood.
Uh-oh.
I'm going to need a minute, Albert, to recalibrate. I don't know.
I do have a video to start off Florida, so once we start off Florida, we could
okay. Thank you.
Get some me time there.
All right. Let's welcome John again. Let's welcome all of you. This is Friday Fabulous Florida.
It's time for Friday Fabulous Florida.
There is a gigantic alligator in my kitchen.
A look at the weirdest stories from our weirdest state.
Well, this is right out of the weird. A Florida man has lost a portion of his
Penis.
Right leg.
Oh.
No, penis is a very good guess, though. I will
Thank you.
ding it.
Well, Florida, you know.
Kim is on the nudist beat today.
Yeah, she really has that in her head.
I'm still on the nudist cruise in my mind, yeah.
You're really champing at the bit.
Yeah, it's true. He was attacked by an alligator at an RV park in Brevard County, and he lost a portion of his right leg.
Oh.
There it is. They, if you're watching.
Florida Fish and Wildlife officials trapped and killed these 2 gators after an alligator bite at the Great Outdoors RV and Golf Resort on Winsong Way in Brevard County.
Basically, it's in an area where the gators lay on the bank there kind of readily. It's only about 15 feet between the house and the water.
It's believed the big one there attacked a 72-year-old Titusville man. When trappers caught the gator, it still had a human foot in its mouth.
Oh.
The victim was airlifted to Holmes Regional Medical Center. This resident and former paramedic heard the ambulances coming in.
You know, they did get the leg. It was with the gator that they know bit him. So they've gotten both gators that were in that pond, which they have to do, unfortunately. But it's, you know, it's what has to be done.
Both residents shared pictures and video exclusively with West 2 News.
I just heard that he did have a tourniquet applied. So that's, you know, a good thing.
Seems like a solid plan.
That he was alert when he went to the hospital.
FWC is investigating, but says around summer and spring, alligators become more visible and active. So be careful around any body of water.
Right now, it's mating season, and they're hungry.
You're telling
So
me,
it's
honey.
volatile.
Sorry.
That sounds like a good time to me, Mark.
Yeah,
That's
right.
just
Great
Florida.
time to go visit Outdoor World.
That's
Dude.
just Florida in general.
That,
It's spring break.
dude, get me that drop. The mating season drop. That is a drop, isn't it? I mean, it seems like that feels very much like a drop.
Well, I like that she said they matched the leg with the gator,
Right.
as opposed to the
She
other
had a-
legs.
Yeah, she had an optimism about the whole
Yeah.
situation. It felt like she dealt with the situation before the paramedics came in.
She
She's like,
probably
"Oh,
analyzed the
tourniquet,
DNA.
Yeah.
Make sure it's the right leg.
It is true. She did seem to feel as though everything was going to be okay. You know, we found them. We had to take care of them. You know, that's you got to do it. And it's sad, but Buck, don't try to buy my love with a $1.99 super sticker. Okay, I'm offended by that. All right. Yeah. How dare you come in here, stir up unrest to the point that John Daly feels he has to comment on it, and then you try to buy my love with a $1.99? How dare you? My God.
Do you know who I am?
Yes, exactly.
Kind of a big deal.
So Buck, he's saying he needs at least $10.
Buck, thank you for the contribution.
Only in Florida. Don't suck up to Buck. Oh, my God. That's disgusting. I can't believe it.
Buck
Albert.
was one of my favorite texters.
Oh, and somebody else sucking up to Buck.
Kim, how are you?
Oh,
Albert will probably agree. Buck is funny. Buck is funny.
all right.
Buck was like one of the usual texters. He'd even
Yeah.
put his name. He would put his name into all the texts at Station X, so you'd know that it was Buck.
Yeah, it is true. He did serve up some goodies. All right. In Florida, a man spotted riding a jet ski motorcycle in Cape Coral.
What?
Yeah. It's something of a spectacle. Do you have the video of this, Albert, or a picture of him? He's literally on this, what looks like a ski-doo kind of thing, but it's a motorcycle. It has wheels and a handlebar, but the body of the bike is a jet ski. You see, there it is. We're showing it to you now.
Yeah, he went to a body shop. He got it modified.
Right.
Yeah.
Is that
Exactly.
amphibious? Can you take it from land to sea?
I don't think
I think he's going to try to find out.
It is Florida. Let's see what happens.
I do think that
I'd be willing to bet my lunch that there's alcohol involved.
It probably, if it's not involved, it will be involved. Wow.
He
Well,
has his overnight kit, you know.
everybody needs a hobby. He does have his backpack there. Yeah. Meanwhile, a Florida man running and hiding from deputies tumbles out of an attic. They couldn't find him, and after 2 hours, apparently he just tumbled out of the attic.
Was he hiding in the insulation? Didn't we have that?
That's
Yeah,
right.
This
No,
was
that was
an attic hideout in
Yeah.
the past few months.
It's a tried and true way to avoid deputies until you fall out of the attic. The Lee County Sheriff's Office said that Dylan Floor was sought on 2 felony warrants, said to be hiding at a home on Northeast 4th Terrace in Cape Coral. You know where that is, John.
Oh, yeah. Right down
Detectives went to the home. They said they heard someone in the attic of the home. They attempted to make contact with him and announce their presence. He wasn't coming down. He played possum, they say. Uh-huh.
He should have played possum before they found him.
Yeah.
you have to get it in order.
Here is a situation.
Yeah. They threw 5 pepper grenades up there, up into the attic.
Oh, no wonder he tumbled out.
Yeah. After 2 hours, Floor refused to leave the attic, though. Eventually, deputies made entry into the attic, they say. Pepper sprayed Floor. That is no fun. He then fell through the attic and onto the floor. Wow, he got the full complement. Pepper sprayed and he falls. You can see it there on our screen if you're watching.
And this is not his home, right?
No, it's his sister's home.
I'm sure she's going to appreciate the pepper spray.
Yeah.
That'll come right out.
And that attic and those pieces that you won't get that damage deposit back probably. And, you know.
I do like how Florida is making progress with this. So the insulation guy couldn't survive because he's an insulation. Then you just got to bring the proper materials to combat the pepper spray for the next insulation /
you have to update the processes, the protocols.
Yeah, it's true. You do have processes.
We have processes and protocols and standards.
Of course, it's true. There's road rage in Florida, and when they do it in Florida, they do it. A Florida woman has now been arrested in connection to road rage incident where she allegedly climbed on top of a car. I always felt for years that women, the fairer, calmer, more together sex, I don't feel that way anymore. I feel you guys are right there at the crazy table with the rest of us guys, you know, just to state it bluntly. The Florida Highway Patrol says one woman has been arrested in connection to a road rage incident where she climbed on top of a car after a minor crash. 2 people in Brandon, Florida got into a minor car crash with a 31-year-old inside a 2019 Chevy sedan. The man involved in the incident can be heard yelling, "Get out of the car," while the woman can be seen punching the car's window. So it's a man and a woman.
Yeah.
Okay. She was, so there, you know, you had both of them angry, right? The woman allegedly involved in the incident was arrested, Shania Faith Cofield. The man that troopers accused of being involved in the incident, Peter Allen McClannon, is not yet in custody. Officials say the man used a firearm in one attempt to break the car's window. Well, it's always warming the heart to know that another firearm is being used in some way. I mean, it is America. You don't want too many stories without a firearm. Officials say the man used that firearm. The woman was seen at one point jumping on the front of the hood of the car while it was stopped at a traffic light. Prior to the witnesses recording the incident from inside of her car, the witness is the woman whose car is being, right? Prior to the witness recording the incident from inside her car, troopers said that at least one gunshot was fired at the Chevy. So this does have the gunplay. In the video, witnesses inside the car urging the pair to call the police instead of trying to break into the car. Call the cops, the witness said. You're going to go to jail. Don't go to jail. No one was hurt in the incident, from what I can see. Right, Albert? But the mayhem and road rage.
Physically hurt, maybe.
Physically. There's a lot of damage. You're right, the other way.
Right now, it's mating season, and they're hungry.
Oh, that's right.
Ma'am, I'm on the phone.
It's mating season. That's what Albert. I was wondering why Albert didn't give a. Because he's putting that drop together. Yeah. It's mating season, and they're hungry. A man steals over $2.4 thousand in Pokemon cards from the Largo Walmart. I love it. Yeah.
Now, nothing says Florida like that.
Yeah, you got to go down to that Largo Walmart. That's where the security is just a little softer. You can walk out with some of those Pokemon.
Ooh, it's a wild idea, but it just might work.
A Plant
You could
City
either
man.
walk in with their gun, or you could buy one there while you're, or just take it.
Oh,
right?
that's true. Yeah.
You don't even
That's
have to
right.
bring your own gun.
Right. You can buy one on the scene and then just turn it on the guy. Right.
Yeah.
A Plant City man was arrested Monday after stealing thousands of dollars worth of Pokemon cards. The Largo cops said that Philip Michael Medeiros, 35, was caught trying to leave the Walmart on Roosevelt Boulevard. You know where that is, John.
Oh, yeah.
With a shopping cart full of the collectible cards. The cards are valued at $2,500 in total. He went past all the points of sale before he was stopped at the exit. It's that exit every time.
They check your receipt at Walmart. I didn't know this because I hadn't been to Walmart in like 10 years. They check your receipt.
Sure.
There's never been anything like this.
Yeah. Medeiros did try to run away before he was found later by a store employee. That he said he was just going to get his wallet.
Yeah.
Well, you gotta give him credit. That you need a story. And I was just going to get my wallet. Seems like a solid story. A mother and son are charged with attempted murder at Leisure City Smoke Shop.
What?
I know. Let me give you the story. Miami.
Why is there a smoke shop at Leisure City?
That-
Are these not people that should not be
Where are my
smoking?
weed
They've got
smokers
oxygen
at?
tanks. They're rolling around in wheelchairs
No,
with
Kim,
their
this is
oxygen.
the ultimate leisure. You've worked your whole
thank you.
life,
Right.
Wow.
and you just want to have some fun.
Okay.
A mother and son from Leisure City. That's southwest of Miami. They were each arrested on attempted murder charges. Cops are saying they attacked a dude outside of a smoke shop near their home. Smoke shop, again, it seems like where everybody's happy. They're smoking, they're shopping. Apparently not. It was 11 o'clock at night. Police say that Ronald George Senf III, 26.
There's some
That's
meth
like a
going on
name
there.
out of the 1800s.
It is. That's right. Fourth in line to the crown. George Ronald Senf III.
He doesn't really look old enough for Leisure City.
He's 26.
Yeah, I'm seeing some meth in the face.
Yeah. He'll get there before. Well, he may not get there at this rate. He was in a verbal argument with the man outside of L&M Smoke Shop. That's there on Southwest 162nd Avenue in the Leisure City area. You know that area, John.
Exactly.
According to the arrest report, and they were arrested, few minutes of arguing, and Senf III walked away. Soon came back with maybe his elaborate scepter that he was given when he was crowned. Senf
His wallet?
III.
Maybe
No,
it's
he
his wallet? No?
didn't come back with his wallet. He came back with, if you guessed, baseball bat.
Oh.
Yes, of course. He and I might say, came back with another thing. Was it his royal cape? Was it his crown? No, it was his mother. Yes. he
What the
came
hell
back
is
with
going
his
on in
mother.
the United States of America?
Surveillance footage showed Senf swinging the baseball bat at the man. As the man attempted to defend himself, Senf's mother, Raquel Esmeralda Delgado, 46 years old, walked behind the victim and stabbed him in the back with an unknown tool, according to the police report.
Meth pipe.
Police apprehended Senf and Delgado at their home. Delgado admitted to stabbing the victim. After the verbal argument, Senf actually ran home to tell her about that argument before the two went back to the smoke shop, according to detectives. The mother-son pair both taken to the Turner Guilford Knight Correctional Center. Well, that's lovely this time of year, actually. Attempted first-degree murder charges.
Just in time for Mother's Day.
Yes. Senf also faced a charge of criminal mischief after the cop said that he swung the baseball bat at the store's glass door as well. So he was racking up, if the murder didn't get him, he was racking up other offenses as well.
It wasn't just a regular mischief.
No. A Florida man drives 130 miles an hour or more while leading troopers on a chase. He was found with what, everybody? What was he found with?
Machete.
Oh, machete is such a good guess, but
I was hoping for a machete in the last story, but after finding out that someone was actually stabbed, it was the best that it was a machete. But machete, great guess.
Yes, Greg. In fact, I don't think there is a better guess than machete, so I will ding it, but that's not the answer. He was found with, it's the United States of guns, so you know. He was found with guns, 2 of them, marijuana as well as marijuana is always a strong choice.
Drugs and guns.
Well, he probably would have been okay, but he took the cops on a joyride, High-speed chase. You're going over 130 miles an hour. Isaiah Jamal Colley. No third? No, just the first one. 23 years old. Booked into jail, and it was an afternoon type thing. It wasn't even a late night deal. He's charged with hit and run.
It doesn't sound like he smoked the pot first. He should have.
Yeah, should have mellowed him out. Right,
Yeah.
then he could have just stayed home and watched the Warriors game.
Stay at home and get baked.
They caught him fleeing, eluding police, possession of marijuana, resisting an officer, and moving traffic violation. So he's got it all. He passed a semi truck on the right paved shoulder. It was a pretty wild run, and it was a wanton disregard for the safety of the motoring public.
I don't know what wonton.
I don't know what a wonton. I don't know what a wonton killing is, but that's right. Where is that? Where is that?
The drops live in my head.
Oh,
They're envy wonton killing. I don't know what a wonton killing is.
Anyway,
I'm gonna have to look that one up.
Yeah, well, you can look it up with this guy. He's. I had a good story here at the end of Florida. A Florida woman spent her life savings on her daughter's cancer treatment, and then she won millions in the lottery.
Nice.
How great is that? Yeah. A Florida mother won $2 million in the lottery days after she finished paying off her daughter's cancer treatment. Geraldine Gimblett, a resident of Lakeland, won the $2 million in a scratch-off lottery ticket for $10. She said she bought the last lottery ticket at her local gas station. At first, the gas station clerk thought there were no tickets left, she remembered. But I asked him to double check because I like the crossword games the best. And he found the last one. The day before my mom bought this ticket, her daughter said, I rang the bell and walked out of the hospital after completing my last treatment for breast cancer, all paid for by my mother.
Wow.
My mom had taken out her life savings to take care of me when I was sick. I'm just so happy for her.
Wow, now mom can move to Leisure Town.
Yeah. Oh, there's more to the quote here. That bitch better give me half this money.
Oh no, no.
That ain't cool, really. No. Guys, I hate to do it, but sadly, we have to pick a favorite. And I'll remind you of the stories that you've just heard. Florida has been filled with everything today. The alligator that bit off the man's leg at the RV park. Mm-hmm. A man spotted riding the jet ski motorcycle in Cape Coral. The guy who was hiding from the cops in the attic. They finally got him down, but he fell through the ceiling onto the floor below. A Florida woman arrested in connection with the road rage incident. She allegedly climbed on top of the car. The man who steals the $2,500 worth of Pokemon cards from the Largo Walmart. The Leisure City smoke shop attack in which somebody was stabbed and attempted murder charges ultimately leveled. The 130 mile an hour troopers on a chase. Dude found with 2 guns and marijuana. And the woman who spent her life savings on her daughter's cancer treatment, and then she won millions in the lottery. What is your favorite? I will start with you, fabulous producer John Daly.
This is a tough one. I like the fact that the woman paid off, who paid off the cancer treatment, won the lottery, of course. But mom and son working together, I'm all about family, so I'm going to have to go with
fabulous producer John Daly.
Wow.
Is it Leisure
how about
City?
you, Kim?
Leisure City.
Yeah.
Yeah, John called it Leisure Town, which is a totally different
Yeah,
thing.
that's different. That's down the road.
I'm going for, I don't know how you could not pick alligator with foot and mouth. I mean, it's so Florida, it hurts.
Kim, how are you?
Yeah, I feel
Right now,
like,
it's mating season, and they're hungry.
Yeah, exactly. It's mating season, and they're hungry. I get it.
Ma'am, I'm on the phone.
Yeah. How about you, Albert? What did you like?
I mean, the Gator story, because we got a new drop. So anytime we get a new drop, it's exciting.
Albert, thank you.
Right now, it's mating season, and they're hungry.
Yes. There really is only one answer here, and it is alligator bites off man's leg at Florida RV Park. That is Friday Fabulous Florida for today.
This has been Friday Fabulous Florida.
There is a gigantic alligator in my kitchen.
Y'all come back now here.
Put it together one more time. We love seeing him. He's made it out, and he's out there in the legitimate business community, working for a real business.
I wouldn't call it legitimate.
John, love you. Have a good weekend. See you next week. John Daly, everybody. Yeah. All right, Albert, we have a fork in the road, as you're well aware. No, show me that again. What was the poll? Florida woman wins the lottery, 40%.
Oh, people want a good feel-good story.
Yeah, our audience is really feel good.
I
Yeah.
love you guys.
Gator takes man's leg is 25%. The smoke shop attack 22. Man in attic 11. Yeah, our audience really loves a nice story.
Yeah.
Right.
Right now, it's mating season, and they're hungry.
Yeah. Albert, we have a fork in the road, as you're well aware. I have two distinguished journalists waiting. And we talk about stuff that's been going on this week as we await a SCOTUS decision that's pretty significant as well.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if we can't get to them, do a supersized news bottom of the next hour before Snyder. Does that sound like something that would be reasonable?
No,
or?
I love that. Let's just add a stinger to that, and we're good to go.
All right. So much to do. Smash the like button like a boss. Thank you, Kim, for your indulgence. And
The Mark Thompson Show.
They join us on Fridays, two distinguished journalists. He's forgotten more about politics than most of us will ever know. He's Michael Shure, everyone. And this other guy is the former senior correspondent at ABC News, longtime White House correspondent as well. How about it for Jim Avila? Gentlemen, thank you for being here as always. We're expecting a SCOTUS decision, as you're aware, an activist court, and they now have this case that has been taken on involving the abortion pill. And maybe you can give me a thought about this, but it's interesting to see, I think from a big picture standpoint, the major government institutions charged with deciding on which medications are safe. The FDA is the, has the experts, has the doctors, has the researchers. It's the FDA that pharmaceutical companies petition to get these various drugs okayed as both effective and safe. But the FDA is being completely circumvented now by the courts increasingly. So I say increasingly, I mean, this may just be the beginning. Michael, what's your take on where we are and what might happen?
Look, I mean, to say what might happen, I mean, you've seen the Supreme Court put stays in on this ruling on the banning of this medication. This pill. I think that this is sort of in a big picture way, a very tense time for the Supreme Court. John Roberts being asked to testify before the Senate Judiciary Committee about the Clarence Thomas issue. The court, and as you said, the legislature is deciding by going around the FDA at a time where the FDA and the CDC are not at their highest level of popularity due to the sort of a lot of the scurrilous things that were said about them during the pandemic and continue to be said about them, and the problems they've admitted having, by the way. Not all of it was scurrilous. So I think that you're going to see a court make a decision, but you've heard voices like Samuel Alito, the people that have been saying that we should stay this thing, who are typically very, very pro-life and not in favor of abortion rights. They're people that voted for the Dobbs decision. So I'm not good at predictive analysis of the court, but what can be predicted is this is kind of I think a turning point for the court in terms of activism.
Sure. I mean, I think that seems indisputable. Huh, Jim?
Well, first of all, let me just say that I covered the Supreme Court in D.C. and got chills sitting in that room. It was such a,
Hang on a second. Hold on a second. Albert, what is that frog sound that is in the background of Jim Avila? Do you hear it? Albert, wake up.
I think it's like Pinocchio's nose. Jim never covered the Supreme Court, so it makes this sound.
All right. Well, Jim, keep going. But if we don't, if we can't get rid of it, then we got to have you break off and come back on. Anyway, go ahead, please.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right. Well, so what I was just saying is that it used to be, and this is just, when was this that I covered in 10 years ago? Immigration. There was a lot of immigration stuff going on in the court, and I was able to cover it. And you get chills.
Stop. Damn it, Albert. I know.
Okay,
is it that we had this happen before, didn't we? They do this to me all the time, don't they?
They do this to me all the time. I don't know what the hell they do it for.
Yeah, just take those off and try it without those. Yeah, okay. It's the Bluetooth, I'm being told. John Daly says it's the Bluetooth. All right.
So you stuck with me, or we got...
We should have Avila in a moment. Okay. I did want to talk to somebody who actually covered the court, Michael.
I understand. Well, as you said, as I said, I don't know if you were paying attention. That noise goes off whenever Jim's lying.
I heard it. Yes.
Well, you see,
the man did cover the court. Damn it.
It's mating season.
Yeah, it is mating. Those were like mating calls.
Right now, it's mating season, and they're hungry.
All right, let's bring him back on. Try it again, please, Jim. When you were covering the court, you were saying you covered them for 10 years?
Well, I was just trying to illustrate that it used to be something that we all really respected. And, sitting in the chambers and seeing this was just amazing to me. What it has become now, so political and jammed with these people who have an agenda. It really has lessened what the court stands for. And I think and it really has whittled away the confidence that America has. And now they're in another bind because they pass this, they vote this Dobbs decision, which they say means we'll never have to talk about abortion again at the federal level because we're going to give it to the states. And now they're in the position of we can outlaw this pill federally, which is against our principles, supposedly, or we can leave it to the states, and which is what they said they were going to do. So they're in a terrible bind.
Yeah, this is such a good point that you're making. And by the way, I don't know, Albert, what you can suggest on this.
Probably just reconnect, Jim.
Okay, you should disconnect and reconnect. But let me just restate what Jim's saying. Yeah, please. Okay. Sorry, Jim. You're hearing this. It's just distracting. This is really an important point that Jim just made, and Michael, maybe you can follow up on it. There is an articulated sense of, and it's a little like what they do when they pick stuff out of the Constitution that they feel. I mean, it happens around the Second Amendment, or the First Amendment for that matter. That we want to put it back on the states. The Fed shouldn't be involved in that. Central government shouldn't determine what's legal and what's allowable in these various states. Now you see just the opposite, as Avila was just saying. You see them getting involved, and you actually see judges in these hand-picked judges. This guy is a jihadist down in Amarillo, who he really existed just to stop abortion. And I mean, look at his activism. Look at the way he even erased part of his record. So, he took his name off a paper that spoke to this very, very issue. I guess what I'm getting at is you see just what Jim's talking about, which is the central government, in this case, the Supreme Court, likely, or with the help of these other handpicked judges, you see them affecting states that are supposed to have their own rights. Go ahead, Jim. Michael.
Yeah, and look, it also goes back to the sort of the celebritifying of and I made that word up, and I wouldn't even bother dinging it because it's not really a word. But in terms of,
I will ding scurrilous, which you used earlier, and I didn't ding it. Go ahead. Yeah.
That's too late. The whole idea that we have made these judges so well known and their opinions and their leanings so well known and talked about and publicized is probably a disservice to the judicial process as well. I mean, there's this idea that, and it's the motto now of the Washington Post, democracy dies in the dark. So shedding a light on who these people are is super important. The televised confirmation hearings, I don't know how important those are. And I don't know how important it is to kind of elevate these people to gods in the way that they are. But if we don't, then we find ourselves in a problem area of having to deal with judges who are making rulings in the dark that we do not know about. And that becomes a problem in and of itself.
Well, that's also a terrific point. The way they become celebrities has both been revealing as to who they are, but it's also been damaging in a big way. Jim, try it again.
Hello. So I guess the only other comment I would have is that John Roberts needs to do something, because the character and the credibility of the court, which used to be, that was the final thing. You expect all this stuff from the politicians, and you expect all this stuff in Congress and from the president. But when it got to the Supreme Court, even during the Nixon days, the Supreme Court stood up and meant something. And now, because of Clarence Thomas and his corruption, and because of this agenda that they have, the court has lost such standing that he has to do something. I'm really surprised that he hasn't yet.
This is a real moment, a potential moment for John Roberts to leave a legacy that is just more than that of a former Supreme Court justice, as someone who stood up for the court rather than the decisions, rather than the opinions, rather than the leanings, who stood up for the actual court. And he has an opportunity now, as Jim says, and I think it's important that he does that.
Yeah, you sort of feel like the horse is a bit out of the barn, but I don't know. I mean, they seem agenda-driven. I was mentioning the court decision, though, that surprised. This isn't actually a decision, but in argument, they were talking about this religious case that involved the postal worker who, because of his religious views, didn't want to work on Sunday. And, again, when he first took the job, that you didn't have to work on Sunday, but then the Postal Service made this deal with Amazon. Now you do. They move shifts around. We've talked about it on the show several times. But both Kavanaugh and Coney Barrett sort of suggested in argument that this is like a festival of this is like having a conversation at a carnival. There's so many background sounds. It's like there are I've got dings. I've got but
I'm sorry, that's me to blame. No, that's not
real. Mark, I'm looking at what some of the comments are that are coming in, questions that are coming on the screen, and they're all good. I mean, one was interesting. We should replace the court with an AI court, and there'd be no background and no prejudice, no bias, just the law. I don't think we're at that point yet, and I do think that there has to be a human part of being a justice as well. The other point that was made is, that it's become, as someone disparaged the court itself. Does anybody take it seriously? We have to. And if we don't now, then we have to correct it. And Roberts has to do things that makes us take that seriously, because those are the rulings that's the sort of the last great place we can go for these sorts of rulings. And even as flawed as it is, as imperfect as it is, it still has worked in many ways, and it's stopping working now, and it really needs to be corrected. So I still think, I mean, we don't give up on the court here, but the court needs a fix.
And the other problem, can you hear me now or no?
We hear you. There's just a croaking sound. It's a weird background sound. I don't know what that is. Albert, what is that, Albert? Please.
I have no idea. Can you try getting closer to your Wi-Fi router or something?
The Wi-Fi in this building is great.
Okay.
Let me change to the iPhone, and then we'll try to.
Yeah, I'm so sorry, Jim. I mean, your takes are so great. But they've got this croaking sound. It's just distracting.
Yeah, his amphibian collection really becoming problematic.
I was going to mention that I was surprised that Coney Barrett and Kavanaugh both had ruled in that Postal Service thing. On the part, they didn't rule, but in an argument, they seemed to suggest that the business might have an undue burden to accommodate various religious observances. So you associate these people with a certain religiosity, and yet when their real fealty is to business, always, I think.
Right. But even that, Mark, you're naming justices. You're saying it's surprising because you know their religious backgrounds, and we may know too much about these people. I mean, the truth is their fealty could be to business. You know, most people who got to the high court, their fealty is to the law and the Constitution, as hokey as that sounds. And what we know about them, we're skeptical of because of the things that we know they've supported in the past. Now, I'm not defending it. I disagree with those people on balance most of the time. But the point is, it shouldn't really matter. I mean, these people are 9 people who are hearing a case, and their judicial, the jurisprudence of the past comes into play. But again, like, we're surprised when such and such happens. We keep such close tabs on it. But in fact, what's broken in the court is that money has now infected the court, because money goes to the Senate races that go to elect senators who are going to put into play these types of justices who are going to be adherent to what these senators believe their constituents and their conservative and liberal constituents want. So it just becomes it has become so politicized in a way that it never was. And we can talk about, the country's never been this divided. That's not true. The country has had we had a civil war, for God's sake. So the country has been divided at different times. It always feels more divided in the time you're living in. But the court has never been this politicized, and that's fact.
Hello.
Welcome back. Yeah, welcome back, Avila. Yeah. Thank you for. Yeah, go ahead, Jim.
So I just had one more point to make on the Supreme Court, and that is the dilemma that the Democrats are in. Dick Durbin, who was the head of the Judiciary Committee in the Senate, is in a bind and probably not acting as, in my opinion, with a spine that he should. But the problem is, he can't subpoena John Roberts and make him come because he doesn't have the votes, because Dianne Feinstein is not in the Senate. She's sitting at home in San Francisco or wherever she is, or DC, recovering from shingles. And her resistance to resigning and instead just going off the committee, wanting to go off the committee, and the Republicans blocked that, has put us in a bind where we can't hold the Supreme Court accountable. We can't call them before the Senate for hearings. So that's really a problem.
What are the realities if Feinstein were there, Michael? You could have hearings where you could call some of these justices in?
Yeah, unquestionably, you have more power because you have that uneven balance in the Judiciary Committee. So that's what Jim's talking about, is that it's a very selfish position she's taking. There's precedent for selfish senators and people not wanting to give up their positions of power. But at this point, Dianne Feinstein has done quite enough, and it's time. It's time, in many people's opinions, for her to leave the Senate so that the governor can name someone to replace her, and right away then they can replace her on the Judiciary Committee, because that person would not be bound to be on that committee who was named. But right now they can't do that, and that's the problem.
Well, I think that point was first made on this show by you, Michael Shure, that you'd need GOP buy-in effect, to just replace Dianne Feinstein on that. And of course, it was predictable that there wouldn't be that GOP to buy-in. That's why there's a real backlog. You know, she's missed 50 votes, though. I mean, at some point, you got to go, hey, this is, as you say, it's selfish. But I don't even know that it's Dianne Feinstein. I mean, someone told me who's pretty close to them that she may not even be aware of what's going on. Like, she may be diminished to that point. I don't know. So then you ask yourself, well, then where is the interest? Help me with the political strings that are behind Dianne Feinstein that want her to maintain that seat, even, you know, even though it's a weekend at Bernie's thing with her now.
You know, I have no idea who's propping her up and why, and how it's a benefit to the Democrats. I have no idea on that. Look, I've known Dianne Feinstein since she was the mayor of San Francisco, and I covered her at City Hall. She's a genuine, good politician, somebody who I've supported over the years. This is a sad ending, and it really is ruining her legacy, and somebody needs to wake up and ask her, even if she can't understand it, get her to leave. It's terrible. I mean, sure, there are other, the defense has been that there are other old people in Senate who probably are senile and should leave too, and because they're male, we're not calling for that. I don't think that holds water. I mean,
and we have called for that before with male senators in the past. I mean, people called for that with Strom Thurmond. To a degree, they called for it with Johnny Isakson of Georgia. It has happened before where people have said that.
And currently in Iowa, I mean, Grassley is over the top crazy, but
he seems a little more with it. And again, we are actually just we're conjecturing about Feinstein. There is no, these are whispers of what's going on. There is no proof that she is not capable of making a decision. But
there's proof she's not capable of making a good decision because she should resign the stinking.
That's true. Seat. But her staff would probably, I would guess, and this is a guess, cower to the pressure of the majority leader at some point, and to the judiciary staff, which is different than the Senate staff. So I don't know that this is just staff based, but again, I can't speak to it because we don't really know what's going on behind the scenes. But I will say this, it can't go on much longer because there will be impatience on the part of her Democratic colleagues, as unseemly as it might be right now for them to come out and say it. There will be a breaking point.
Yeah, well, part of the issue too is that she's been such an historic person in the Senate, and she has friends, Nancy Pelosi is her friend. Nancy Pelosi going to go and ask her to resign? It's like me asking you, Mark, to stop the show. I'm not going to do that, even if I disagree with you. You're my friend, and I think that's part of the problem is that she's friends with Schumer. She's friends with these people who are not asking her to leave, and it's really hurting the country. The Democrats are hurting the country doing that.
But you don't know that she's best friends with John Tester and Chris Murphy. You don't know that she's best friends with a senator from another state, that Mark Warner, whatever, that she may not be that close with. But there's also, at a certain point, the risk for reward. She is friends with them. But if Chris Murphy came out as her best friend and said, "Look, I think it's time for the senator to resign," that doesn't end the friendship. And if she is in such poor shape anyway, and I don't mean to be insensitive, the friendship is not going to be offering Chris Murphy much anyway.
Yeah.
I want to pivot to the announcement by RFK Jr., Robert F. Kennedy Jr., that he's entering the race for president. I mean, there have been others, the Nikki Haley's of the world on the Republican side, and Larry Elder just added his name, I think, in the last day. Kennedy is polling, at least early on here, and again, I'm sure Michael would say, don't pay any attention to any poll this early, but it's kind of all we have to judge on in terms of enthusiasm. He's polling in double digits, he's polling in the teens.
The name RFK, sadly, is just going to get votes by accident. Anyway,
I see.
People are going to respond to that in the poll. I think people who are anti-Biden, who are Democrats, might poll that way. People who are independents because they felt a certain way about the pandemic and vaccines. He's going to get them. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. will not be president.
But might he, Jim, influence the conversation? He has a very populist message.
Well, if he gets enough support that he's in the debates, that could be a problem because, let's face it, he does have that name, and his only issue is anti-vax. So he's going to get on the debate stage and he's going to do that.
He has an environmental issue.
He does, yeah. He's been an environmental attorney. I take issue with that, but I hear you. I think that's the thing that's going to jump out at people.
Yeah,
but
also,
he actually has a real worldview and policy.
President Biden doesn't have to debate him either. I mean, it's not like there's this open field. He can say, I'm not going to debate RFK Jr. and Marianne Williamson, and just we're going to move on from this. And I think he'll have his moment, and it's probably starting now. I will point out that his wife endorsed my congressional campaign.
I love his wife.
Yeah.
What the heck happened?
She's married to a man she presumably loves, and if he's running for president, she's going to support him. But maybe she'll be 0 for 2 in endorsements because she did endorse me, and when I ran for Congress.
So you're saying she doesn't have a very distinguished track record when it comes to endorsements,
in terms of choices are 1 for 2, but her success rate is 0 for 1. So.
Her compass is clearly correct as to those people she supports, Michael. I was a big supporter of your campaign, but sadly, we couldn't bring it across the finish line. All right, and on the Republican side, it's just a rugby scrum, right? Everybody under Trump. By the way, I should mention Marianne Williamson's also in this game on the Democratic side, but on the Republican. Yeah, on the Republican side, it's an open field with everybody from DeSantis to Nikki Haley, not particularly at this point anyway, energizing any of that electorate.
No, and keep your eye on Tim Scott. He's the senator from South Carolina. He has a lot of money. He has a lot of money that he's raised from conservatives, that he's raised for his Senate campaigns. He goes into this, even though we know Nikki Haley's name a little more nationally, he goes into this with a war chest that she doesn't have. And the argument can be made that she may never be able to get because they're both raising money from South Carolina and her fundraising is not done as well. So money speaks in those primaries. And I think that he will be someone that we'll hear from. I don't expect he'll be president, at least in 2025 either. But
there's nothing happening in all of this that changes the basic arithmetic and the basic framing of the general election in 2024.
No, not until people say they're not running. I think that I'm going to be wrong, at least initially, about the president not running for re-election. They say they've moved that up to as early as even a week from now, that he would be announcing for president. And I've maintained for a long time I didn't think he was going to run. I still don't think DeSantis is going to run. But until people start dropping out, you don't really get the shape. Big names drop out, you don't get the shape of a free-for-all type of environment. Yes, there's a free-for-all on the Republican side, but it doesn't matter as long as the former president holds that percentage.
The last minute here, I was going to just mention this to you guys because I think it's a sign of what's to come. A legal strategist, top Republican legal strategist, at a private pitch to the RNC, told a room full of GOP donors that conservatives have to band together to limit voting on college campuses, same-day voter registration, and automatic mailing of ballots to registered voters. Yes. Cleta Mitchell is her name. She's a longtime GOP lawyer and fundraiser, worked closely with former President Donald Trump to try to overturn the results of the last election. She gave this presentation to the RNC donor retreat group in Nashville. They want to, in other words, restrict voting and even eliminate voting and voter registration in many ways. The GOP does, seeing that the more people vote, the lesser chance the Republicans have to prevail in many races.
Right, and the young people, have been voting Democratic, and they just haven't been voting enough. And in 2022, they did come out, and that was one of the factors in limiting the red wave that everybody predicted. So the Republicans see that. They've always been for making it more difficult to vote because, by trying to limit minority voting, by and making it more closing polling places all over the place. So it's not a surprise that they would consider this because they see the writing on the wall. The demographics are not in favor of the GOP. The GOP is a dying party. It has this 35% there behind Trump, but on the issues of abortion, gun control, the major issues of our time, they are on the wrong side. So they need to try to limit who's voting. It's simple math.
Yeah, and voter suppression, like Jim said, has always been part of their game. It is voter intimidation, voter suppression, muddying the waters. Can I go to college in another state and register there or not? Can I, if they say I can't, then I won't. And then I won't vote because my absentee ballot, that just takes too long to do from my college campus. So they make it difficult, but they also make it complicated. And that's part of their goal as well.
Yeah. Guys, thank you for showing up here on Fridays. So appreciate your takes. And thanks for hanging in through a couple of blips and bloops, Jim Avila, and getting us to a
I don't know what
oddly, the iPhone is a more stable connection.
Jim now has a whole week to troubleshoot this, which is great.
All right. You find them both here on Fridays, the great Jim Avila and Michael Shore. Thanks, boys. Love it, love it, love it.
The Mark Thompson Show.
Well, still ahead, we've got the Culture Blaster, Michael Snyder, on what to watch this weekend. And regardless of who you are, what to stream becomes an important question.
I come from regular stock.
Yeah, and if you're a regular stock person, you really want to know, right? You're just hanging out there in that Walmart parking lot with the Thomases.
I prefer the Walmart parking lots.
You need to know what you can stream and watch this weekend. Warriors game isn't until Sunday, the next game. And they really were impressive last night.
Yeah, Draymond, like I said yesterday, Draymond's contract might have taken a hit with the huge win last night. He didn't play.
I see. Yeah. Wow. They said they were going to win it for Draymond, but you think the Draymond might have been on the wrong end of it. Look how well they did without him.
Draymond and Looney on at the same time. They're both not the best offensively, so it's easily game plannable around the other three guys on the court. So that's been my theory behind our struggles this season.
Well, I'm excited to see Sunday's game. Another home game. They do well at home, as we know. But there are other things on TV, streaming. We'll get all of that stuff from the Culture Blaster, Michael Snyder. Smash the like button. Give us a thumbs up. Costs you nothing. Kim's News next, and then the Culture Blaster.
Yes, I'm very unhappy with everything I've heard today on your show.
On the Mark Thompson Show, I'm Kim McAllister. Let us begin with former President Donald Trump, because the new poll that just came out is giving Donald Trump a strong lead over likely GOP presidential contender Ron DeSantis. A new Wall Street Journal poll shows the former president with 51% support, I should say, from likely Republican voters, and the Florida governor at 38% support. Other GOP candidates trail far behind, including former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley with 5% and South Carolina Senator Tim Scott with 3%. Fake accounts popping up all over Twitter now that it has removed the blue checks for anyone who doesn't cough up the money. The previously free verification marks are now only available for Twitter Blue subscribers who pay $8 a month. Impersonator accounts have been emerging now that it's harder to tell what the official accounts are for public figures and not. And that includes the Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, Harry Potter author J.K. Rowling, the City of New York governors, Twitch streamer Hassan Piker, Joe Arpaio, the Arizona sheriff.
What happened with Hassan? What happened with Hassan? He's one of the what? What happened?
He's one of the people who apparently the impersonator accounts have been popping up on Twitter because of the whole blue check thing. Yeah, so there's all these fake accounts now. As of Friday morning, accounts pretending to be Clinton, Rowling, Piker and New York City were suspended, but they just keep popping up. So I don't know how you keep up with the suspending. We'll see how that goes.
Wow, that is it's a wild west out there in Twitter land now.
Who knew the blue check marks were so important?
Well, they do, their official agencies, they're kind of going on and going, no, that isn't the official agency, we're the official agency. And then in the thread, there'll be somebody else impersonating the official agency going, no, that's an imposter account. We're the official agency. And you see like a whole thread of 7 of those, and you just don't. And so at some point, it just creates an impossible situation,
So this is, of course, President Biden. And it turns out that environmental justice is becoming a central mission of every federal agency now, thanks to an executive order that President Biden has signed. He will announce new environmental justice initiatives today, surrounded by climate and environmental justice activists. The order creates a new Office of Environmental Justice. President Biden making now environmental justice a central mission of every single federal agency. Tomorrow.
Yeah, where I sit on that. I mean, I'm glad, but it seems like it's all show and no go. Not no go, but not enough go. How you can. Well, we've discussed the Willow Project. We discussed the Gulf leasing. There's a lot that's not, it would seem, falling in line behind that directive, but we'll see. Okay.
Let's talk about some drugs. Why don't we? I know we already did the Florida, but hey, tomorrow marks National Prescription Drug Take-Back Day. The aim is to keep prescription drugs from being misused, as 2/3 of people who misused prescription painkillers got them from a friend or family member. You can turn in unneeded prescriptions at collection sites all across the United States. And speaking of the environment, flushing drugs down the toilet can increase hormone levels in the groundwater. So not what we want to do. We want to dispose of those drugs properly. South Texas getting a glimpse of what could be on the way once Title 42 expires next month.
Y'all can all go to hell, and I'm going back to Texas.
A lot of people fighting to get in there. A bridge into the border town of Brownsville had to be shut down yesterday after at least 1,000 migrants tried to cross it. The public health rule used to expedite deportations expires now in less than 3 weeks. So, this could really come to a head as far as seeing exactly what happens when that expires.
And the border states are going to want help from the feds. This is going to be a real rough time. Yeah. I don't know what the feds do. I mean, I think the feds do have to step up in some way. This is a real issue for these border states, Texas among them.
Certainly is. Let's go to this airport, because this is where an employee at the Austin Bergstrom International Airport, speaking of Texas, died on the tarmac yesterday afternoon. Airport officials say the American Airlines employee was driving a ground service vehicle that struck a jet bridge. The employee was pronounced dead at the scene, unfortunately.
Jeez.
I know. Horrible. The family of the Louisville, Kentucky shooter in that bank situation, they are trying to keep the gun that was used in that attack from being auctioned off. They want the gun destroyed. The Sturgeon family says they were aghast when they learned the state law requires the AR-15 rifle used in the killing of 4 people at Old National Bank to eventually be auctioned off. They said they are working with Louisville police and the ATF to ensure that weapon used in the mass shooting is actually destroyed.
What an effed up situation that is. That's a state law there?
Yeah,
where there's something that's used in a that's just incredible to me.
Right? That it has to be auctioned off?
Yeah.
You would
I mean,
think
as you
that,
say, it has to be destroyed. Maybe it would be that,
No. You would think that we never want to see that thing again, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
that's about money, I think. It's got to be about money. The state must get some money from it. It's crazy. If it doesn't make sense, usually it's about money. I'm guessing money has something to do with it.
Oh, no. This is disturbing. I can see why they want that thing gone. So, COVID tests. A new report from the CDC finds about 1 in 3 U.S. households use the free at-home COVID tests offered by the Biden administration.
That's not fake. That's real.
The report finds more than 32% of households surveyed between April and May of 2022 actually used those kits. So there you go. There is a Bay Area hospital that is bringing back their mask mandates. Like you get to pick, even if the state rule is that you don't have to wear them anymore. Apparently, hospitals and medical facilities can bring back the rule if they need to. And now Kaiser Permanente here in Santa Rosa dealing with a new COVID outbreak among workers and patients. More than a dozen tested positive just this week. So now all staff and visitors have to cover up when inside in an effort to keep the COVID virus from spreading at Kaiser Santa Rosa.
I don't wear a mask for the same reason I don't wear underwear. Things gotta breathe.
Oh, thank you. So I guess you won't be. The Kaiser will not be seeing her.
No, they don't. Okay, so let's go to Highway 37.
My personal thought is that masks don't work.
Okay, well, I can see there are a couple of people aren't going to be going to Kaiser. Sorry, go ahead, Kim. Excuse me.
Let's go to Highway 37 because drivers are getting a chance to weigh in on possible tolls now for Highway 37. Wait a minute, you want me to pay to drive on the road that I already paid for with my taxes? That's right.
What?
A public hearing will be held on Monday in Vallejo to explain the plan and take public comment. Officials think charging tolls is one way to ease congestion between Sears Point Raceway and Mare Island in Sonoma and Solano counties. State Senator Bill Dodd warns rising sea levels could completely submerge this stretch of roadway, Highway 37, within 20 years if improvements aren't made. The meeting starts at 5:30 p.m. on Monday to talk about making Highway 37 a toll road.
What can you tell us about the scene?
They want to make it a toll road, Larry. That's what's happening.
What can you tell us about the scene?
20 years, it's going to be completely submerged, is the word.
Well, what the hell is going on in the United States of America?
Yeah,
it's going to be really expensive to fix it or to create a new roadway that's elevated. But really, you want to make it a toll road? That's another thing. Then we got North Bay drivers paying, out the rear end to cross the Golden Gate Bridge.
Yeah.
No matter which way you drive, you're paying a toll, basically.
Exactly.
And this is their new hoax.
Right, exactly. Maybe it's not going to happen.
Come on, people. Russia is premiering its first feature film shot in space. It's funny because some of the ads for this say Putin beats Cruz in the race to film the first movie in space. The Challenge, it's called The Challenge. It was shot on the International Space Station in October of 2021 when Russia sent an actor and a film director to the space station for a 12-day shoot. Did you know they did that?
Oh, did not. That's
right
very,
now it's
very
mating
cool.
season, and they're hungry.
Wow.
The film is about a surgeon who is sent to space, to the space station, to save an injured cosmonaut. And drama ensues. It premiered today in Russian theaters. It was praised by President Vladimir Putin, who posted...
Nobody has ever put something like this together that I've ever seen.
I'll bet it was. It does sound pretty much nobody's...
We've never seen anything like it before.
I think so.
There is nothing in our history that quite compares
to this.
Have you ever seen anything like this?
Okay.
He boasted, I can't do a Russian accent. We are the first to have shot a feature film in orbit aboard a spacecraft. Once again, he said, we are the first.
Wow.
Very important to be the first.
Two thumbs up. 2 thumbs up.
Jada had nothing to do with it.
All right.
Did you hear about these guys? These are, I guess, the alleged cheaters, we'll call them. At least one of them pictured here. There are 5 NFL players now being suspended for betting on sports. The league announcing today 4 players from the Detroit Lions.
Albert, please. Yeah.
One for the Washington Commanders caught violating the NFL's gambling policy. Lions receivers Jamison Williams and Stanley Berryhill are suspended for the first 6 games of the season. Others will sit out indefinitely.
Well, you know who their bookies were.
Joe Box and Little Anthony.
Thank you. That's exactly.
Is that the Pete Rose agency? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
Mo Black's brother, Fat Andy.
You're saying I want to take the Lions and 5 points. That is, I mean, look, as we legalize gambling in every state, it's just, we penalize those that are involved in the sports that we legalize gambling around. I understand why you have to do it, but you can't be surprised that these guys begin to warm up to the idea of gambling on it. They gamble in other parts of our life. We celebrate it now and legalize it.
You wonder.
It's just it's a weird kind of cognitive dissonance we have about the players.
Are they not making enough money? Like,
It's an activity. It's like saying, aren't you having enough fun? Why do you need to have a cocktail? I mean, I don't know, because I want to.
NFL career is also very short. So 3 years, also get as much money as you can, but this is not the right way. Only Jameson Williams is the prominent. He's a first-round draft pick. So all the others already got released by their teams. So they're not that big of a player. So unfortunate.
No.
Cheater. So the magic. The magic. It may be the happiest place on earth, but for Disneyland cast members, knowing Mickey's secrets can take away the luster of working for the House of Mouse. The LA Times spoke to former employees, from custodians to characters, who shared a behind-the-scenes look at working at the park, and they detailed everything from the grueling audition process to the thankless task of cleaning up vomit at the Mad Tea Party ride. Some of the secrets revealed include the feral cats kept on the site at Disneyland to help control the rodent population, and the visitors who want to spread the remains of loved ones around the haunted mansion.
It's a wild idea, but it just might work.
A lot of people spread ashes at Disneyland, right? Final resting place. Yeah. While most former cast members recall fond memories, once the veil was lifted, the magic eventually died.
I think what you wanted when they're burying you wanted sayonara, sucker, didn't you? You didn't want the good day.
Sayonara,
sayonara. There you go. Thank you.
There you go. Beautiful. Perfect way to end it, because the Mark Thompson Show is crowdfunded. There is magic here. It is magical. The Mark Thompson Show community in full force. Thank you for being a part of it, and for spending your time with us. Honestly, if you would like to support the show financially, please consider becoming a Patreon member or supporting us via PayPal by going to this website, themarkthompsonshow.com, where you will find those links, and I stand by it, so much more. I'm Kim McAllister on the Mark Thompson Show.
They had to close down an entire radio station to silence him. And now he's here. Ladies and gentlemen, Mark Thompson.
I've told you, it's never easy being in this business.
The Mark Thompson Show.
We are excited. I want to alert all of our stations that the Mark Thompson Show will be running long today. That's right. Yeah.
Okay.
We'll be running into the noon hour.
So, not too long of a newscast? Is that what happened there?
No, not at all. Nothing is wrong. We've had a packed show. Fridays are often like this. So recalibrate, please, because we want to give this guy who's coming on his full complement of time. You've read him in the Marina Times. You've seen him kicking around the city. Mega Dubs fan, Mega Giants fan, and a fan of music, of movies, of television. He's remarkable, and he comes and goes on a rainbow. How about it for Michael Snyder, everyone? He is the culture blaster, as they've called him. Michael, welcome, sir.
Hey, thank you, and hi, Kim, hi, Albert, and hello, Mark Thompson Show listeners. So now Putin is a movie critic? Oh, my God. I just hope he's not going to try to get me out of the way and take over my slot here on the Thompson Show. I will be avoiding any swarthy people with Russian accents and like tea bags, because who knows what's in that tea.
I'll tell you, it's true. You don't want any tea that's served by the Kremlin. Yes.
Mark, I have to say, I'm in Seattle for a few days to visit my brother and his family. And I know San Francisco and Los Angeles have had their problems lately, although I love both towns except for those LA sports teams, which, of course, I detest. Go Dubs! But I fear Seattle is really going downhill, Mark. I checked out the Space Needle yesterday and was shocked to discover it's a syringe. Oh, my God.
Oh, I got you. Wow.
No, I'm kidding. I love the people of Seattle. I love Seattle. Seriously. You want to get this?
I kid the people of Seattle. Let me tell you. Yeah. Hey, where are you from?
Hey, they may conspire with Putin to put a little poison in my Starbucks coffee. I don't need that.
What am I telling you? Hey, we're talking about the coffee up here. Everybody drinks coffee, you know?
It's crazy.
So, Michael, what massive, great, juicy entertainment projects can we partake of this weekend?
Let's look at this. And I don't know that this is for everybody, as I will explain. Beau is Afraid is the latest movie from the current master of elevated horror films, Ari Aster. That guy was the screenwriter and director of the terrifying, dread-inducing Hereditary and Midsummer. Amazing films, but it's a very different ball of discomfort here. Beau is Afraid is not very much like those other films, except, horror is horror, I guess, and there is implied horror. The Beau of the title, played in a no angst untapped style by Joaquin Phoenix, who's seriously the perfect actor for the part. This guy is a timid, broken man living in an urban hellscape of a neighborhood whose attempt to visit his domineering, well-to-do mother goes awry in the worst ways possible. In fact, things escalate over the course of his often derailed odyssey to the family home, especially when he learns of something unexpected awaiting him there. This is a marathon of nightmarish happenings where, like in a Warner Brothers cartoon, you're waiting for the next anvil to drop, or giant boulder, or grand piano to smash this poor sucker to smithereens. So considering what plagues Beau, the Coyote and the Roadrunner tunes had it lucky. So, Beau is Afraid is excessive. It's self-indulgent, even repellent, but it's sickly funny, skillfully executed, and it's riveting throughout. Get ready. It's nearly 3-hour running time.
What is it with directors now? They just, in this era, they cannot edit their own films. They're too long.
I said self-indulgent.
They do this to me all the time. I don't know what the hell they do it for.
Exactly. They do it all the time. It is more and more the case,
And I also want to know what happened to the pictures I was supposed to see this week.
Are there pictures in there, Michael, that we can
I
see?
was never bored for a second.
Oh, wow. Okay.
This
all
is
right. Maybe
very
it works
much is very much in a different mold from Aster's two previous movies, but it, like I said, it's as much of a horror film in its way as the others. Whether it's like a parable about the helplessness of the ordinary man confronting the sordid state of modern society, or maybe more likely a purge of the filmmaker's own inner paranoia and mommy issues as art therapy. Either way, it's disturbing and again, artfully crafted. I don't want to get too classic Greek tragedy about the mother-son stuff, but I'm surprised he didn't call it Oedipus Wrecked. Anyway,
oh, wow, really? Oh, wow. Tom, who watches ding words for us, repellent, he says, is a ding word. He says awry is a ding word. I think that's true. So anyway, continue, please.
So Phoenix thoroughly commits to his character, wallowing in all of Beau's neuroses, and the same goes for Nathan Lane, Amy Ryan, Parker Posey, Patty Lupone, and a few other familiar faces in an unfamiliar place.
Oh, my God.
Everybody wanted to work with Aster after seeing those other movies. And I don't know that they, bargained for this. It's not going to be for everybody. And I heard of critics yelling in vehement hatred and disdain at a screening. And at the end of the screening, they're screaming at the screen and other people are applauding. But all the actors deliver, no matter how shocking the circumstances. And if you want my take, I recommend it for cinephiles and Aster fans with certain caveats. If you watch it, you're probably going to be upset at various moments throughout Beau is Afraid, and I think that's exactly what Aster intended. By the way, I know of a very discerning movie lover who has already seen it 3 times since it opened earlier this week, and obviously adored it. It's in theaters.
Wow, that's 9 hours of screen time.
I know. This guy apparently has time to burn. Is that it? I don't know. Anyway.
Apparently. Sordid, he says, is a ding word. Okay.
All right.
So you liked it, though. Didn't notice the incredible length necessarily. And but you say it's not for everybody. The cast is insanely talented. So Hereditary is Is it Hereditary or Heredity? I forget what it's called.
No, it's called Hereditary. It stars Toni Collette as a woman who starts discovering secrets about her family.
Right. That is insanely disturbing. I mean, you can't get it out of your head disturbing.
Right.
It's not on that level of disturbing is what I'm asking.
It's a different kind of disturbing. It's a constant barrage of the horrors of everyday life amped up to 11.
Okay.
And this
Tom
poor
says
sucker's in the middle of
cinephile
it.
is a ding word too. All right.
Sure.
Go ahead, Michael.
Okay,
What else do you have, please?
So he's best known for snarky UK gangster movies like Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels and The Gentleman. And I love both of those movies. And he's also done the occasional big budget studio adventure or fantasy like his Robert Downey Sherlock Holmes films. But director and screenwriter Guy Ritchie's latest is something else entirely. It's a gritty, legit feeling war movie set during and in the aftermath of America's recent problematic foray into Afghanistan. Delving into battleground bravery, determination, honor, and loyalty under fire. It's also, to my mind, one of the filmmaker's best, which may be why he titled it Guy Ritchie's The Covenant. Right? It's no ordinary run-of-the-mill Covenant. No. No, sir. It's Guy Ritchie's The Covenant, co-written and directed by Guy Ritchie. Anyway.
Foray is a ding word, Tom said. Okay, go ahead.
At its heart is the unlikely relationship between the sergeant of a U.S. Army unit and the dour Afghani interpreter under his command. And also covered in the film is America's treatment of those citizens of Afghanistan who helped in the fight against the Taliban. The soldiers led by Sergeant John Kinley, played in very canny, no-nonsense style by Jake Gyllenhaal, are tasked with rooting out and destroying Taliban weapons caches with the assistance of interpreter Ahmed, played by Dar Salim, with a quiet air of deadly efficiency. So when Kinley and Ahmed are forced to flee an in-country ambush, circumstances forge a bond between these two very dissimilar individuals. The Covenant is as much about trying to repair broken promises as it is about white-knuckle firefights, and as much as it is a tale of survival against daunting odds. The performances and the drama here are powerful, and the scenes of warfare and survival are wrenching. Guy Ritchie should be proud of Guy Ritchie's The Covenant, which is in theaters this weekend.
Wow. Apparently he is proud. Good. It sounds like a winner.
Okay.
I love the Guy Ritchie stuff, just as do you. What else do you have?
Chevalier has undeniable virtues and a couple of cringy moments that one can forgive because of the rousing elements and the righteous introduction of its subject. Directed by Stephen Williams, Chevalier is a plush and lush-looking quasi-biopic about a true outlier in 18th century France, the brilliant biracial violinist and composer Joseph Boulogne, a.k.a. the Chevalier de Saint-Georges. So I say quasi because there's a lot of conjecture, and to be frank, there are a few cliched moments, especially in the opening minutes of the movie. I don't want to spoil it, but the opening minutes feature a violin face-off between Boulogne and, no lie, Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart at a Mozart concert, and it's shot like a battle of the guitars between Clapton and Jimi Hendrix.
That's great. I love that.
Yeah, but talk about Boulogne, if you know what I mean. Anyway, that sort of piffle is ultimately overshadowed by the efforts of the cast, some top-level talent led by Kelvin Harrison Jr. as the dashing but tormented Boulogne, Lucy Boynton as his patron, Queen Marie Antoinette, Samara Weaving as love of his life, Marie Josephine, and Martin Sokas as his nemesis and Marie Josephine's jealous racist husband, and also fabulous settings, sets, and costumes. It's really enlightening to learn about this remarkable but comparatively little-known man and hear some of his beautiful compositions that have been unearthed over the years. Chevalier may smack of, postmodern candy, but if it introduces the deserving Boulogne to a larger audience, that is sweet. Chevalier's in theaters.
Wow, terrific. Michael, we have time for one more.
Well, let's talk about Ghosted because, people will be able to see it on Apple Plus. And I thought it was a wasted opportunity with two charismatic stars, Chris Evans and Ana de Armas, a lot of talented and well-regarded supporting players, and a lot of fancy action on the screen. And the problem is it's stunted, and there are a lot of stunts, by a script that starts out with the promise of a fizzy romantic comedy featuring mismatched partners. He's a book-smart farm boy, and she's an international sophisticate who meet at a Washington, D.C.'s farmer's market.
Wow.
But when he starts obsessing over her, tracks her to London, and is mistaken for an arms dealer by evil middlemen, it's revealed that she is a coldly calculating CIA agent who has to save his ass. I know. They begin bickering, and the movie turns noisy, clumsy, and predictable with callbacks to better adversarial action rom-com. Will they survive the onslaught of spies and assassins? And will they get past their differences to find true love? Seriously? Anyway, Captain America and Marilyn Monroe, Evans and de Armas.
Okay, there you go.
Evans and de Armas are likable and very good-looking leads who were also both in the cast of Knives Out, by the way, so they know one another. Oscar winner Adrian Brody plays the main heavy. Plus, there are a few lightning-quick cameos that are going to delight fans of a certain cinematic universe and a couple other sci-fi franchises. Plus, there is a massive climactic set piece and some generation-jumping needle drops that are impressive to an extent, but none of it allows Ghosted to transcend its flat derivative screenplay. Again, it started streaming today on Apple TV+.
Dour is a ding word, says Tom. I think that's probably fair. And adversarial is a ding word. Yeah, it is. I'll give him that too.
Well, I do want to say before we bail out, I want to say quickly that I'm suffering from video withdrawal as The Mandalorian and Star Trek Picard stream their season finales and maybe series finales this week. But Ted Lasso on Apple Plus continues with all the uplift and charm, and the violently hilarious HBO comedy Barry is back for what I hear is its final season with Bill Hader's.
I love Barry. Barry is really well done. Yeah.
Misbegotten assassin now captured and in prison, and I would bet soon sprung to cause havoc. Hader is phenomenal, as are Stephen Root, Sarah Goldberg, Anthony Carrigan, and series MVP Henry Winkler. Love Barry. That's about it on the TV front.
Terrific.
I found a really good series last night. It's on Netflix, and it's called The Diplomat. And I guess it has some of the same writers as The West Wing. So
right. Kerry Russell, who was so good in The Americans.
Yeah,
I got to look at it. I got to look into it, Kim. Good call.
Yeah.
All right. And Lori agrees in the chat. Just to review what the Culture Blaster was talking about, Beau is Afraid is the disturbing film from a director who can really bring on the disturbing. And this project is really well acted. You liked it. You said it's 3 hours long, and you didn't even notice how long the film was. It was that enthralling. It's in theaters.
But it's very divisive. Very divisive. Other people are going to get up and scream.
Yeah, it's. I guess it is. It's a horror film, to remind everyone. Beau is Afraid is that one. The Covenant is the Guy Ritchie gritty war movie. In fact, it's called Guy Ritchie's The Covenant. Stars Jake Gyllenhaal in an effort, from what it sounded like, to get out, was it a translator or something? Or at least working with some who we worked with in Afghanistan. And I say we, meaning the Americans. And the effort to do that. Is that a fair summary? It's in theaters now.
Eventually it comes to that. But first there's the bonding under fire.
I see. Okay, yeah. It's a war movie and an action movie. So
and a good one.
And a good one. Yeah, he likes it, and it's in theaters. One of his best, actually, is what Michael said. One of Guy Ritchie's best. Chevalier is another one that he liked. I got that you didn't love Chevalier. You liked it. Is that fair?
Yeah, I thought it was beautifully done, but again, there were some obvious moments and some pandering here and there. But you can't fault the beautiful art direction. The acting was first rate, and it's a great story for people to know because this is a guy that people don't really know about.
Yeah, true story. Pandering is a ding word. Ghosted is the Chris Evans Ana de Armas piece that could have been so much more with these hot firecracker actors with the rom-com energy. So much going on. Spies, espionage. Who's for real? Who's not? But you felt like ultimately it missed. And,
yeah, it It was no Romancing the Stone. I'll tell you that.
It's on Apple TV. For those who want to check it out. Michael, I'll take 15 seconds on the Dubs, please, as a Dubs fan.
Well, I'm heartbroken that the NBA tried to make a big show of suspending Draymond Green for a game. But boy, oh boy, when you have to defend Jordan Poole and Steph and Clay in the starting lineup, who do you defend? They came out on fire. And, I guess Poole was in his comfort zone. Sometimes he makes some bonehead plays under pressure, but they steamrollered the Kings last night. Let's hope they do it again on Sunday. Go Warriors.
Looney was pretty terrific too. Yeah, really.
Oh my God. 20 rebounds. Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
are you joking?
Crazy talented. You can read them in the Marina Times. You can find them here on Fridays. When will we see the first AI-generated movie? I think it's soon is the answer to that, Mackay. Wouldn't you agree with that, Michael?
Yeah, well, dude, apparently ChatGPT wrote that movie Ghosted from the looks of it.
What the hell is going on in the United States of America?
Oh, Mike Ron with his voice went up.
What the hell is going on in the United States of America?
There it is. But it's true. I think parts of some of these movies are being punched up by ChatGPT. That's my sense. And it's one of the big questions that the Writers Guild is going over now in their negotiations. What should be permitted? So it's a really on-point question.
I saw an external hard drive on the picket line. I couldn't believe it.
It comes and goes on a rainbow. Bye-bye, Michael.
Bye, guys.
Michael Snyder, everyone. Wow. It's been a productive day. We got off. It's not too late. Albert, Kim, what needs to happen before we say goodbye for the weekend? I'm putting my credibility glasses on, so I'm completely engaged in everything written. Roger B. What up, Roger B? Big shout out. Thank you for the super sticker. Thank you for being part of our community. We are a crowd-funded show, so we have to appreciate it. Buck, you gave me headaches today. Gave me headaches. Walter for $10, never a headache. Aloha, baby. Mahalo, and aloha. Vivian Elshawa for 10. Thank you, and big shout out. Thank you. Buck and Walter and Vivian and Gail Guthrie. Happy Friday, fabulous Florida. I think I'll order some Why Are You Yelling wine today. Oh, I love that idea. I think I'm going to have some Why Are You Yelling wine today. So I'm with you on that, kid. I'm with you. Yeah, let's bring on the magic. We've got some special guests visiting the show next week. Yeah, some people you've never seen on before. So I'm looking forward to that. In addition to all our regulars, and I want to thank you all who are regulars in our community of viewers and listeners for being here. I'll remind you, if you want to help us out, you go to themarkthompsonshow.com, and there's a click to Patreon and PayPal. That's kind of what keeps us going. But more than anything, we've really enjoyed a very eventful week. Still waiting for that SCOTUS decision. We'll have reaction and all the rest of the legal drama for next week as well. Kim is over on Nikki's channel now, the Nikki Maduro Show. Thank you, Kim. Albert, thank you. Albert, thank you. Great Florida segment today. And until tomorrow, everyone, in the words of the great
I'm
Shadow
Stevens for the Mark Thompson Show. Bye-bye.
Thank you all.
Out of time. Bye-bye.
Have a great weekend. Go Dubs. Till Monday. Bye-bye.